Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the previous video, we talked about the Prophet asking the Ansar of Medina to do Azadari for Sayyid al-Shuhada Hamza. Now we will talk about the Azadari that took place in Sham. When the family of Imam Hussain was brought from Karbala to Kufa and then from Kufa to Sham, what we have received in the narrations is that the public in Sham was very shocked to see the actions that have been committed by Yazid. So Yazid, in order to try and control the emotions of the people, and in order to try and calm them down, he brought up someone to, na'udhu billah, may Allah forgive us, to talk about the shortcomings of Imam Hussain and to talk about why he was right in killing Imam Hussain and why he was right in taking prisoners and why he was right in taking into captivity the family of Imam Hussain. So what we see is that when this person came onto the pulpit and he talked about Imam Hussain, when he concluded the hadith, Imam Zainul Abidin, Imam Ali bin Hussain, he asked to speak to the people. Yazid was forced to accept this. And when Imam Ali bin Hussain came onto the minbar, and when he started speaking, first he introduced himself in the very famous sermon. I will not quote the sermon here. The sermon is very famous. He introduces himself. He talks about the praise of the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet and Imam Ali and Hazrat Zahra and Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. He talks about the level and the attachment that the Prophet had to Imam Hussain. He talks about the good character of his predecessors, the Imams who came before him. Then he talks about the events that took place in Karbala. He talks about the way that the army of Yazid dealt with Imam Hussain and his companions and his family. He talks about what took place after Ashura. He talks about being taken from Karbala to Kufa and then from Kufa to Sham. It is said that the audience was called by Yazid. The audience, upon hearing the events of Karbala and the events after Karbala, the audience started weeping and crying. So in fact, one of the first Zakirs of Imam Hussain was his own son in the Darbar of Yazid. One of the first Zakirs of Imam Hussain was Imam Ali ibn Hussain in the palace of Yazid. So when a Zakir or when a Maulana or when a speaker comes and talks, and our Majalis are in the same format. There is the Fadail as we call them, and then there is the Masaib. The Fadail is about the Ahlul Bayt, and depending on the date of the Majlis or the commemoration that is taking place, we talk about the Fadail, and then we talk about the Masaib of Karbala. So this tradition that has reached to us is a tradition that was started by an infallible, by a Ma'soom. Of course, we talked about the commemorations and the Azadari that took place before the event of Karbala. But after the event of Karbala, Imam Ali bin Hussain himself and Bibi Zainab herself, they were one of the first orators and one of the first Zakirs of the Majalis of Imam Hussain. So again, I will repeat, and I keep repeating in all these videos that we are uploading on the channel, that it is truly an honor for us to be part of this tradition, to be part of a tradition that was started by the Prophet, that was continued by Imam Ali, that was continued by Imam Hassan, that was continued by Hazrat Zahra, that was continued by Imam Ali bin Hussain and all the other Imams. Because we will see in the coming videos that we have many narrations of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, Imam Ali al-Ridha. They have also called people to do Azadari for Imam Hussain to commemorate the events of Karbala. The second Majlis that took place, or the second Azadari that took place for Imam Hussain, was after Yazid was forced to free the family of Imam Hussain from the prison in Sham. So they were given an option of either going back to Medina or to stay in Sham for some time. They opted to stay in Sham, And what they did in Sham was what we do in Muharram for the 10 days of Muharram, and after that they gathered themselves and they did Azadari. So again, we keep seeing from these ahadith that we are doing nothing more than just continuing the traditions that have been started by the Ma'sumin themselves. So something that has been started by the Ma'sumin can obviously not be shirk, it cannot be wrong, it cannot be pointless, as some say, because some people, they are of the opinion that Azadari is not intellectual enough and that we need more intellectual discussions, while not understanding that the form of the Majalis that has reached us, it can be an intellectual discussion itself. And with regards to group discussions or two-way discussions, because a Majlis is usually a speaker-to-audience discussion, with regards to two-way discussions and group discussions, we can have separate sessions for that. The aim of the Majlis is something else, and the aim of having intellectual group discussions in academic settings is something else. The third Majlis was held at the time of the return of the prisoners to Medina, and in the book that has been written by Allama Rizvi, he mentions in detail this third Majlis. We will bring up the reference to the Majlis and to the ahadith that I have spoken about on the screen here, so that the viewers can check the book on our website, allamarizvi.com. Inshallah, that these videos are sparking some thoughts of discussion among the youth who are currently being bombarded with messages against Azadari, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.